Welcome to America's Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Ball. We're your source for market intel, forecasts, and success strategies. And this segment is brought to you by Xceligent. If you're looking for commercial real estate information around the U.S., check out Xceligent.com. Well, today we have a very topical story for you today. Amazon has announced that they're going to acquire Whole Foods, and it's a pretty big announcement. It's been important to, I think, retailers, grocery store owners, retail property owners, investors, lenders. So everyone's a little curious about what it might mean for everyone involved. Please welcome my first guest. It's Stephanie Cegalski. She is Vice President of Public Relations with ICSC. Stephanie's joining us on the phone. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Stephanie, you see this from, a lot of views. How shocking is this? Was this something you saw coming?
We didn't see this coming at all. It was a very shocking announcement. I think it's an interesting announcement. It shows that Amazon really does want to be in the brick and mortar space, and that it has this long-term growth strategy, and that includes a physical footprint. But I think it caught everyone off guard.
Yeah, and do you think that they're going to try to do what they've done for retail, and that is deliver it to us?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they've tried that. They've had a lot of problems with their Amazon Fresh segment, and so I think maybe this will kind of supplement it. It's an interesting mix, considering that that Whole Foods has, always, they've kind of had that tagline of whole paycheck. People have been a little cautious just because of how Whole Foods prices, and Amazon is known for really bringing prices down and being, kind of a competitor in that space of pricing items. So it's an interesting mix. I think they'll try to get groceries to you. The United States, only something like 1.6% of consumers in the United States actually order their groceries online and have them delivered. As opposed to China, they have 16% of their population does online with their groceries. So it's an interesting move for Amazon.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that it's Whole Foods as well. I mean, so I think of them as kind of fresh and high quality, maybe healthy foods, and I don't think them as a kind of that price leader, that lowest price. But how is that a concern to other grocery store chains then, if Amazon can come in and get these prices down and then add on top of that their delivery? I can't speak for any particular grocer, but my guess is they are all really looking at this. It's not a done deal. There's been a lot of speculation that perhaps another grocer could come in and make an offer on Whole Foods as well. It's a tough market. Margins are small, so there is concern about what the business model looks like. For Amazon, it's kind of that middle of the store. Those non-fresh items become where the competition gets stiff, although Whole Foods offers something different than your typical cereal and canned foods. But I mean, I think that there's skepticism from all sides as to what this might mean for the future. Yeah, and I guess the stock market kind of reacted a little bit too with the stock prices on some of these other grocers, right?
Yeah, we saw some of the other grocers were already taking a bit of a hit on Wall Street, and they took a further hit with this announcement. One of the interesting things is that both Amazon and Whole Foods stock prices went up with the announcement. Usually you have one up, one down. But both went up, so there's clearly some support from Wall Street over this marriage of the two.
Yeah, and I'm a member of ICSC, and you have a lot of members that own properties. You have retail members, you have members who are developers and owners of retail and then support retail like I do, selling shopping centers and things. So what are you hearing from your members about this?
We haven't heard a lot yet. I think and I don't think that's a bad sign or a good sign. I think it's that there's some pause to look at what's going on, what this means. It could mean nothing. It could mean that Amazon walks away with 450 brick and mortar Whole Foods stores, and the owners of those properties. It's just the same. It could mean something different. I think there's just a lot of unknowns right now, and so I think people are just trying to figure out if it's going to have an impact on their property, or maybe it's going to, whether that be a positive or a negative impact.
Yeah. So what if you have Amazon in your shopping center? What might you be thinking or want to try to do moving forward?
Well, I mean, I think that obviously with anything, as we're, have gone through a year of a lot of large store closure announcements, all those property owners, landlords, whomever, need to think about that property and what that community wants. Whole Foods has strategically placed themselves in communities that can support them, which is good. So there's a good chance that nothing will happen, at least in the short term. But as always, it's a matter of looking what the local community wants and needs and diversifying your tenancy to support that.
Yeah. Well, might the other grocers in the market that they compete with, the Publix, the Krogers, may they kind of speed up their delivery options when they see what's going on here?
It's hard to say if they'll speed up their delivery options, if they'll look at their whole business model and their strategy and approach, if they'll take it kind of a market-by-market look at where they're positioned. It's hard to say. Some communities really support the kind of the online grocery and delivery experience, and some don't support that. So I think that, just because Amazon has acquired Whole Foods, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone needs to start delivering groceries. It definitely is community-based, and whatever your community will support.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I look at it with my own family. So with me, I could probably order the almost identical things once a week, and I might be a good candidate for that if there's a place for that delivery to show up that's safe. But I look at my wife, and she's getting fresh ingredients, and she's preparing different things. She really loves to cook. She's going to go in that store and look at those vegetables and look at those herbs, right? So.
Absolutely, and that's the big thing with consumers in America. They still overwhelmingly want to see and touch and be involved with the food they choose.
Yeah, I know one of the staples I have is I like to get a nice ribeye, but I do want to look at it.
Right. Right. You want to see what the meat man has available, because you may go in wanting a steak and walk out with lamb chops.
That's right. So, Stephanie, what else might this mean for retailers or retail properties owners moving forward?
I think it's I do think it's a promising acquisition. I think that it really goes to, as Amazon has already started opening a few brick and mortar stores, in New York City with the bookstores, or testing out the cafes and whatnot they have on their own properties in Seattle. I think that the consumers are still going to desire physical locations, especially when it comes to groceries. And so consumers crave the experiences of the shopping, but they want the convenience of the digital and the physical. And I think that this is probably the first of what's likely many examples to come of that digital and physical meeting and meeting the needs of everyone. And so I think that something to be taken away from this is that we are definitely moving into a world where physical and digital are converging and have to be embraced.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Stephanie. I mean, it is a good sign that this online retailer now is going to have a lot of physical real estate, and we're starting to see more of that all the time. Stephanie, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And stay with us. We're going to talk more about this. This is big news. What's it mean for everyone? Stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is America's Commercial Real Estate Show.